Am I the a-hole for telling my son I'd rather have his ex-wife as a daughter than him as my son after he got cut out of the will? 16 years ago, my son Matthew had a daughter with his now ex-wife Josie. I have always thought of Josie as my own daughter. So, when they divorced 7 years ago due to my son cheating, I was conflicted and disappointed. Josie wasn't particularly close with any of her family, so my husband and I naturally took them in. Josie was an angel. She had insisted that we didn't have to lift a finger more than before we had taken them in, and though she was hurt, she kept civil around Matthew. My husband and I held a huge hand in raising their daughter Ruth, because Matthew remarried less than a year later, and now has a 4-year-old son after disowning Ruth. 2 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with lung cancer. It was hard on everyone, especially Ruth. They were extremely close. She told him about her girlfriends and boyfriends before anyone else, and has always wanted him to be the one to talk and walk her down the aisle at her wedding. Matt rarely ever visited, and didn't answer our calls, often saying that we had other kids, so it wasn't like my husband was dying lonely. Great son, just... Last night, Matt stopped by to talk about inheritance. He never mentioned Josie nor Ruth, and hinted that he thought he should get more inheritance than his siblings the entire time. My husband and I shared awkward looks until he decided to cut in. He explained that everyone would get a piece, but he'd focus more on Ruth and Bonnie, one of our other grandkids. Matt got angry and said that Ruth was just a bastard, and that his son deserved more than her. My husband got furious after that and left the room, saying that he wouldn't include Matthew at all. Matt yelled back and turned to me, saying that Ruth wasn't worth it because she'd just grown up to be a whore like her mother. I told him that I'd rather have her mother as my daughter than him as my son, and insisted that he leave. I'm getting phone calls from Matt's wife and family friends saying that my husband and I overreacted, and he was just angry that they were playing favorites. Am I the a-hole? Now to clarify the accusation about Josie, she did not cheat on Matthew. Josie and Matthew met later in college when Josie was known as a party girl before that. Ruth isn't the product of an affair, but we are planning on getting a DNA test because what Matthew said has gotten under Ruth's skin. She was at the house when this occurred and overheard it. When it came to taking in Josie and Ruth, we didn't hesitate because Josie is not from here. She and Matt lived in another country until he moved them here a few months before he got caught cheating, and they had nowhere else to go as Josie was a stay-at-home mum. I had no intentions of choosing Josie over Matt, then and now, and I never discouraged Matt from visiting. I tried to make it very clear that we weren't picking and choosing when we took Josie in. We just wanted her and our granddaughter to be safe and have a good home. Straight to the top comment here. Make sure you leave him and his son $1 each so they can't contest the will by saying you forgot about them. Interestingly enough, this story does actually get an update. For context, the story was over a month ago, so this is now. This situation is what my grandchildren have described as messy. There is a lot that happened, so I'll try to sum it up in one explanation. We had been trying to talk with Matthew for several weeks after what happened, and we were only met with silence. He and his wife would refuse us at the door, and he never answered his phone. There was obviously something we didn't know from his side of the story, but we can't make a judgment based on what we could possibly not know. I sat Josie down and asked her if she knew what could possibly be happening. She never talked much about her and Matt's marriage, and we never pried. Josie broke down and told us that their marriage wasn't great from the beginning, and that Matt cheating wasn't something new, and them moving here was because he told her he would stop once he was closer to his family. She says she never told us because she was embarrassed and she didn't want to turn us against our son. A few days ago, Matthew came by our house well after midnight while drunk. He insisted on talking, so I brought him to the basement patio. He told me that he thought Josie was cheating on him from the beginning, but had no proof nor any reason to think it. He just couldn't think that such a pretty ex-party girl could stay faithful. Josie getting pregnant wasn't off track for their bedroom life, but he just couldn't believe it. There wasn't much sense to his words, but he did say, "She's so pretty and I love her so much. Why would she stay faithful?" He started having affairs after Ruth was born and Josie knew. She stayed because she didn't want Ruth to have a dysfunctional family. Eventually, he started repeating that he fricked up and being a crappy father is the only thing he's good at, and that he can't disappoint anyone if there's nothing to look forward to with him. He said, "I'm an a-hole and that's it. No changing it. I'm not good for being the villain," and called his wife for a ride home. He's gone back to ignoring us, and I'm not sure what to do. His wife, Ellie, has told us that she's tried, and it's not a fight we're going to win. In an even longer story short, Ruth is 100% Matt's daughter, and it looks like we're going to have to raise our grandson too. I hope everyone has gotten their fill of drama today. Absolutely not. How dare you assume that I'd be done with this drama? In a positive sense of news, it's nice to see that the father has admitted his wrongdoings. Now, clearly, another typical case of man is only acknowledging their faults under the hopes that it means they'll get everything back. He's not actually sorry or reflected on his actions. He's gone from physically demanding he gets what he wants to,
"Oh, woe is me, I'm so bad. You sleep with me now?"
like, dude, just accept your losses, admit your failure, but don't seek to redeem yourself. Stop wasting your time and theirs. If you truly fathomed what you did was wrong, you'd acknowledge and accept the fact that she doesn't deserve you. She deserves more than you. Straight to this top comment here. So, to his reasoning, he was justified in disowning his daughter because, his wife was too pretty and he loved her too much. Just, wow. I am sorry that your son is so warped. This is not your fault. Any person walking away from their responsibilities is doing it for their own reasons, and they are the only ones at fault. Yeah, credit to the mother here. She's done an amazing job doing cleanup for her son. I don't know how you could be the bad guy in this situation. But hey, the night is young. We might come across some stupid people yet. Our next story. Yeah, have any old friends you haven't seen in a while that you might think of catching up with? You might think again when you read this one. I fricked up today by agreeing to get together with an old friend. 2 days ago, I, 19 male, was hit up by a girl, 19 female, who was visiting my local area. She was only there for a week, and I hadn't seen her since I was 7 or 8, so I agreed and thought it would be fun. Yesterday, we went on an early morning hike, and I thought we had a lot of fun. She stayed at my house afterwards until she was pretty much forced to leave by me having to go to work. It is at this point that I should probably mention I had no feelings for her in any way. I just felt like we had a connection as friends. So I suggested we go with her friend to a bar together in the evening since she was leaving the next week and I thought it would be fun. Red flag number 1. I show up at the location and has specified and could not find her or her friend. Also, there was a wedding happening at the venue she specified? I tried calling and everything, but she didn't answer. Eventually, I managed to bump into her and 2 friends, and they thoroughly convinced me that they were so confused about the wedding as I. So we grouped up, started chatting, and headed to a pub different from our original plan. Now, I also want to mention that right from the start, we talked about how we were going to split the bill. I was going to pay for my beer. The girls agreed to pay for the wine. One of the girls also ordered an expensive meal and said she would pay. The music was great and the alcohol flowed. I'm not much of a drinker, but I had a freaking amazing time. Near the end of our time, one of the girls suddenly got up and left. Now, this is where I got confused, partially due to the alcohol and partially because I'm pretty trusting. The other 2 girls explained that they wanted to get a taxi with me back to their place to chill a bit longer before I would head home myself. Now, again, there was no implication of intimacy or anything, and I did not want any. So yeah, they left me there, telling me they were fetching this other friend back. I'm a student, so I have no money either. If I'd tried to pay for their 2 bottles of wine, my beer, and the meal, then my card would have declined. Honestly, the only things that kept me from rage was the excellent people at the restaurant who treated me with respect and allowed me to figure out how to pay. Also, there was an incredible performing bassist there who offered to help me out until he saw the bill. I didn't know how people were that awful. I couldn't afford it, and they knew that because we had talked about my job and how I need to save and pay for my own university tuition. The girl who I've known since I was tiny declined all calls and blocked me on WhatsApp. I'm so glad that my father is close with her family because I'm needing to get that money back. My father had to come and bail me out of the situation. Bless him. It's stinginess on a cataclysmic scale. And it's such a shame too, because it was clear taking advantage of you. Though the comments highlight what I'm sure we're all thinking. How stupid do you have to be to scam a childhood friend who is connected with your family.
Hey, I've got a great idea for a scam. We text literally anyone on Bumble and Tinder and get a free night out drinking. No, there's this guy I've known for 10 years. His dad is best friends with my dad. He has multiple ways to reach me. We're going to emotionally destroy this guy and embarrass his father. Not for one, but this plan is terrible. 2 bottles of wine.
She sounds like a member of Female Dating Strategy. Ain't that the truth? Hot diggity damn, I would not doubt it for a second. I mean, that's the thing, like, it would be one thing if you were a single guy out on the prowl and really, maybe if it was more evidential that you were a bit of an a-hole towards her and really, putting your moves on her, but he establishes in another comment that he has a girlfriend, and yeah, he had no intimacy or any desire for her. Hell, maybe that's what caused her to be like this. She was very insulted that you weren't trying to jump at her. Oh, but look, we've got the male version of Female Dating Strategy. Always be mindful that females are of a different species. We will never understand their mindset. In the end, we are just tools to them as they see fit. Ugh. Oh, lordy, there's actually a subreddit. Oh. Honestly, good. It really shouldn't exist. I mean, it's just as bad as like r/shoplifting when you really think about it. It's just all about how to swindle people. Next story pries into a father seemingly dumping his offspring onto his own child. Am I the a-hole for refusing guardianship and questioning my dad's decision to have a kid at his age? This is a throwaway. Quick background, I am a 37-year-old female married to a 37 male. We have 4 kids ranging from 4 to 12. My dad is 65 and on his 3rd marriage. My mum is the same age as him. His second wife is 50, and his current wife is 40. He's really climbing down the ladder the older he gets, isn't he? He had 2 kids during his second marriage, 17 male and 15 female, and now he has a 6-month-old. When the 15-year-old was born, my husband, fiancé at the time, and I were named in my dad's will that we would raise my siblings, his father's children, if the worst happened and they were orphaned. We were fine with this. And we still are fine with it. There is no doubt that if this scenario were to come to pass tomorrow, it would be extremely hard. But my siblings are now teenagers, so there would be, at the very least, not be much physical hands-on care. Plus, the responsibility would only last technically for 3 more years. This is obviously not the case with the baby. If the worst happened tomorrow, we'd be starting all over. My husband and I are agreed on no more babies and have taken the necessary measures to ensure that, and with our youngest finally fully trained, we are thrilled with the diaperless future ahead of us. So, my dad told us a few weeks ago that he updated his will and naturally named us as guardians for the baby. I said he'd better change it then, because absolutely not, and outlined the reasons above. Dad didn't take it well. He said it was really unfair that I was favoring some siblings over others. I reiterated that that was not the case, though I do of course have a much closer relationship with my teen siblings than with my baby sibling. He's cute and all, but I've got my own kids to focus on. My personal situation is very different than it was 15 years ago. I told my dad to ask people on his wife's side of the family, and he doesn't want to because he doesn't feel they'd respect his wishes for raising the kid the way I would. I said, I'm sorry, but I am just not able to make this level of commitment. Then Dad started complaining it's not fair due to his age. He really needs the assurance that his kid will be in good hands. So I quipped back. Due to his age, he shouldn't have gone and had another kid. My dad responded that was a nasty thing to say and hung up. And things have strained ever since. I guess I could have been a little nicer, but I do stand by what I said. I am not in a position to commit to this, and frankly, having a baby at his age was dumb, and he should have thought it through better. Am I the a-hole for my refusal to be a guardian and for sharing my thoughts on my dad's choices? I want to know why he's wasting his time having children when he should be wasting his time in a laboratory helping other men his age figure out what's going on with him down there that's making it work so well at his age. Damn, why is it meant to still be working at that age? It shouldn't need to. Damn, male biology. Top comments. Not the a-hole, and your dad is crazy to assume you'd still be willing or able to take on that kind of responsibility in your mid-30s with a house full of your own kids. I do have to question the legitimacy of the father here. I feel if you're gonna put someone into your will for something, regardless of even if it's just an additional thing, you still gotta check with them first. Especially when it comes to another kid. I mean, the fact you know you're gonna cark it soon, and you're still having a kid, it's like you know you're not gonna see your child grow up to his mid-20s.
If you're at that point in your life, surely you'd fathom, oh, maybe I shouldn't have a child because it might just be a bit traumatic for them to grow up in their youth knowing that their dad's going to definitely die before they're 30.
God, and everyone sucks here. Your father shouldn't be angry with you about being honest, re not wanting to commit to potentially raising a baby, but of course, he's angry about your comment.
How is that an everyone sucks here? What is the point you're saying with that?
Here we have someone who clearly sees their entire personality being raising children.
I don't know what's all up with these NTAs. People have no concept of what family means anymore, I guess.
The fact that you'd rather have your baby sibling be raised from people your father deems inadequate just because it would be inconvenient for you to welcome an orphaned baby, child, teen, whatever, into your family. Real cool move. Heartless and cold-blooded, actually, but you do you, I guess. I think we're just going to ignore the 40-year-old mother who will certainly still be around? No? Okay, yeah, no, that's orphanage, yeah.
Mild Utah, you shouldn't have told him he's too old to have kids.
Although at 65, he is closer to natural death than, say, you. Anyone can die at any time. So then she was right to say it. What? Oh, I love the least approved comments. They're always so fun.
Am I the a-hole for messaging another girl's husband?
Recently, I, a 26 female, noticed my boyfriend, who's 32, messaging some girls in his phone. Not a big deal, but it threw me off since her responses would be in the blocked message section, and he had no other messages in his phone between them. I know they are responses because of the way she would reply. Anyways, I confronted him about it, and he first said it was a friend from a long time ago and they only ever talk about games. I told him if that was true, why does her response end up in the blocked messages, and why did he not have any messages between them? His excuse was he always deletes messages that aren't important. Which isn't true, since he has old messages from many guy friends that he hasn't talked to since we've been together. 4 years. So, after some more probing and finding out her name, I told him I found her on Facebook. She's married, by the way, but lives a town over, and said I'll write her and find out how they know each other. So he admits they were an old drunken fling from years ago, but that the messages weren't anything serious. Keep in mind, he hasn't messaged this lady in a while, so I don't know what prompted him to reach out randomly. Anyways, I haven't felt settled by this and decided if I should reach out to her husband explaining the whole situation so that he doesn't feel like he also was being blindsided, and told him that I have no proof for the reason of no text messages saved, but he may have better luck if he saw her phone instead. I feel like this could stir up a mess, but I also believe no one should be cheated on or have anything done behind her back. And no, I would message her since she may not tell the truth or twist it around, so I'd rather reach out to the other partner so he can deal with the situation, whichever fits for him. Did I do the right thing? My boyfriend said he has blocked and deleted and doesn't plan to talk to her anymore. He'd said this before and proved the opposite in time. From this point on, after I explained how disrespectful it is to be in contact with someone you had prior relations with while in a relationship. Am I the a-hole for messaging her husband about the situation? Straight to an edit though. Okay, so I see a lot of people assuming that I just go through his phone sneakily. One, he allows me to see his phone and leave everything open. I can see when things pop up, and most of the time I don't bother it, but something made me feel weird about those messages. I can't see them since he hurries and deletes them before it shows up or before I come around. Also, he has in the past with us together supposedly got paid to talk to other women and get nudes and pornographic things from them. I may be the dumb one for forgiving him, but that's why the whole past fling thing was made. The only reason I wanted to message the husband is because I didn't want him to get blindsided from someone cheating. I wouldn't care if he wasn't being sneaky with just this female. Anyone else he has in his phone, he's showed me small things between them, like pictures or jokes. More backtracking. So I didn't necessarily write the husband yet, but thought about it. But I really wanted an opinion on it if it would have been a good idea by just insinuating that I did. I don't want to cause him issues, but if I was in issues, just me personally, I would like to be made aware of what's going on. Of course, I can't be mad at the lady since I don't know what all has been said to her on terms of a relationship status on his end. But I feel bad for the husband if she is in fact doing these type of things behind his back. So to clarify, in my best deciphering of the terrible grammar of this post, she said she's reached out to the husband of this other girl. She hasn't actually, but she's told her partner she did. She seems to trust that her current partner is not genuinely cheating on her, but is suspicious that this girl is trying to start something and would like to reach out to her partner to expose her. Would she be the a-hole to actually do that? People's thoughts? You're the a-hole. If you don't trust your boyfriend enough to not go through his phone and suspect him of cheating, you either shouldn't be with him or need to reevaluate how you conduct yourself in the relationship. He probably didn't tell you she was an old fling, even if there's nothing going on, because he knew you'd freak out about it. Don't go through his messages and check who he's talking to. You're not his mum. Meanwhile, Nata, but you would be the a-hole to yourself if you just go back to the same level of trust. He was 100% hiding it all from you because he knew it was wrong. And upon refreshing this page, they deleted it. Wow, I guess they couldn't handle the overwhelming disagreement for this person's decisions. That was interesting because, is she not right to be suspicious of her partner doing this stuff? Like, okay, yes, of course, prying into your partner's privacy is wrong. You should have an establishment of trust. But I feel she was going on a step of having a genuine reason not to trust him. I don't know, this comment really kind of breaks it down for me. So he admits they were an old drunken fling from years ago, but the messages weren't anything serious. My boyfriend said he has her blocked and deleted and doesn't plan to talk to her anymore from this point on. Your boyfriend was planning to cheat on you. First, he lied and said it was a friend from a long time ago and they only ever talked about games. Then he gave you some BS about deleting messages that aren't important, which you knew wasn't true. It was only after you found her on Facebook and threatened to Messenger, he claimed clean about his old drunken fling from years ago. Ask yourself, do you want to be with someone like this? So yeah, those are, I don't know, they genuinely seem like red flags to me. But of course, that isn't really the focus of the story. It's about the issue of whether or not she's an a-hole to invade someone else's relationship to expose based on a theory that the partner is being unfaithful. Because let's clarify here, no one's cheated on anyone yet. This comment does go on to suggest, as for you contacting her husband, I think that depends on what she was responding to your boyfriend's texts. What did she say in them? Was it flirty, intimate, or suggestive? If yes, not the a-hole. He deserves to know if she is cheating on him. If no, you are the a-hole. Could be that your boyfriend was bothering her and she wasn't interested since she is married now. And you might have just created drama in her marriage. But either way, your boyfriend is an untrustworthy a-hole. I'd have to say, I feel like this is maybe not physical cheating, but it sounds like a bit of emotional cheating at best. I don't know, dude. I mean, the fact you were lying about who she was and the history you have with this person, all that kind of stuff, it really just does not paint you in a good light. I don't get why everyone here is saying you're the a-hole just flat out. I think everyone is just focusing purely on how badly you worded this story. Because, I mean, she clarified, she doesn't dig through his phone. His phone is there for her to see. And she's noticed that there's these messages on it that are sus. I don't know, maybe I just read it wrong. If there's anything I missed in that one, let me know. Just tell me in the comments. Expose my stupidity. Well, my lovely friends, that is the end of today's stories. Thank you as always for watching. Love having you around. If you could support the channel by liking this video, subscribing if you're not already, all the good stuff, I will love you forever. But as always, my name's Jack. You've been watching Mick, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.